I got to play some of Resident Evil Requiem at this year's Tokyo Game Show, and after having to play the demo twice to reach the end, I can confidently say that this is shaping up to be an absolutely terrifying evolution of the series. My demo began with the choice to play in third or first person, with the latter option being strongly advised. Having tried both, I really do agree with Capcom's recommendation, and if you do want the most intensely scary experience, this is certainly the option for you. Honestly, I think by now I prefer the series in first person, whether that's the native versions of 7 and 8 or the VR version of 4. I know that's probably controversial, but I'll make no apologies for thinking the survival horror series is at its best when you're closest to the scares. However, I did notice that the storytelling and cutscenes, from my demo at least, are much more often presented from a third-person perspective as opposed to the immersive first-person cutscenes of the Ethan Winters titles. Now this isn't a bad thing, and both styles do still exist at different points in the game, but it will be interesting to see what kind of balance they strike between them. From my experience, the most terrifying up-close and personal moments did take advantage of the more immersive first-person presentation, so I am fairly confident they'll handle it well. Speaking of cutscenes, the actual demo itself started with a sequence I can only assume is towards the very beginning of the game, likely just after protagonist Grace Ashcroft begins investigating the hotel where her mother lost her life 8 years before the events of the game. As an introduction to the first new mainline Resident Evil protagonist in nearly a decade, this scene gave me a great look at the absolutely terrified but clearly very resourceful daughter of Alyssa Ashcroft, as she proves herself capable by breaking out of her restraints. I was already impressed by the voice acting in the trailers, but actually looking through Grace's eyes while hearing her petrified breaths and expressions of pure terror really put me in her shoes. And trust me, that's not a place you want to be, as the demo wasted no time introducing this thing. Now for the rest of the demo, this so far unnamed creature was absolutely relentless in stalking my every move. It's almost like Jack Baker from Biohazard plus the baby from Village, which really isn't something you'd want to encounter in an abandoned hotel. As I desperately ran away from the creature, it actually emerged from the ceiling, in truly terrifying fashion of course, but on my second playthrough this didn't reoccur. On top of that, at one point I had to interact with a cart full of objects, which would freely topple over and bring attention towards me. As far as I could tell, this actually doesn't have to happen, and from the brief encounters I had with the creature, it really did feel like an unpredictable and dynamic entity, which adds a lot to the experience. After I climbed atop the cart to retrieve a screwdriver, which I needed to access for the fuse that powered the exit, the demo reached its end. Overall, I came away with a new confidence in the survival horror side of Resident Evil Requiem. But as someone whose favorite games in the series are the ones that mix in a healthy dose of action alongside plenty of scares, think 4 and 8 for example, I am curious to see what kind of ratio they've gone for with this new installment. Hopefully the lack of combat shown in the demo and the game's trailers is down to something Capcom is so excited about they simply don't want to ruin the surprise. I won't make any predictions, but many are hoping for the return of Leon for the game's more action-oriented segments, as I'm not sure how capable Grace will prove even in comparison to someone like Ethan, though in fairness, he is basically superhuman. But still, I'm incredibly excited to have all of my questions answered when we finally get to play Resident Evil 9 on the 27th of February. If you have any questions about the demo, feel free to ask them in the comments, and do consider subscribing and leaving a like if you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, see you next time.